My son has become a degenerate after finding a goth girlfriend and slapped me in front of her to try assert dominance over me, so I called the police on him. My wife is still very upset with me for this, but I didn't see another way to help him out short of physically forcing his girlfriend out and him to stay. Before the cops came I flushed the blow down the toilet, but they found that he had some grass. The girl was asked to leave and my son was told if he tried to leave, they would take him to a youth detention center for a few days. Well, since all of this, my son has been grounded and is not allowed to see this girl. It's easy for me to blame it all on the girl, but I am sure I failed somewhere for my son to act this way. Apparently he is talking to my wife and asked her about going to some festival juggalos and ICP has. I looked it up and it sounds like bad news. My wife said he could go without talking to me. I am at a loss at this point. While I want my son to experience life, he seems to be headed down a dangerous road and my wife is enabling it. I did talk to my wife about it, and all she can say is that this is our way of making up for calling the cops on him. I thought about how I could make my wife see what my son has gotten himself into when it comes to this lifestyle, so I figured I could show my wife a couple of the videos about the festival she just gave him permission to attend and she was horrified by the substance bridge the most. We agreed that my son would not be able to go without adult supervision. So, there's a guy I know who at some point has actually gone on tour with ICP and I reached out to him to talk about it. He had some interesting and good insight on them and made me realize that the problem here has little to do with the music my son is listening to. It is more about something he is going through and we need to figure it out along with him and help him. Now for our son. After my wife and I talked about the situation, we decided it would be best if we had a friendly conversation with our son. One that would not include yelling from my wife or myself, even if our son raised his voice. We were going to tell him our decision on the concert and see if we could find common ground on a few of the other issues. So last night, we sat him down when he had gotten back from hanging with his girlfriend. She came with him as she needed to grab something that was in his room. She stayed for 30 minutes before leaving. When she left, my wife and I asked our son if we could have a chat. He resisted at first and tried to walk away, but I said, "Please son, I just want to talk. I'm not going to yell. I just want to know what I can do to be a better father." It worked, even if he looked annoyed. Before I got into the substance use or ICP and face paint stuff, I asked him if he was alright. I asked him if he needed to talk to someone. He kind of just sat there. My wife asked him the same thing, with different phrasing so to see if she could get him to open up. At this point he started to tear up and I could tell he wanted to say something. I shut my mouth though, and continued to let my wife work on him opening up. Since we have been clashing, I didn't want to ruin this opportunity. After a few minutes, he basically stated he was still having a hard time about his best friend's aside. All this time, my wife and I thought he had moved forward with that, yet he was still trying to work through it. We all cried and after several months of him not allowing me not to hug him, he let me. It was a hug that lasted for a few minutes. I felt like I had my son back and that he had me back as well. So after this part of our conversation, we got onto the other serious issues such as the substance use. I asked him why he had blow in his room.